Hello, Steeler Nation. Welcome to Stryker's Inside Slants. Tonight, we're going to talk about why the Steelers are elite and why the rest of this damn sporting world does not even mention it. Why? Because they don't know football. A lot of people are being played that don't understand all of the phases of football. But first, I want to start off with the injury reports. Obviously, we got they didn't practice for real yesterday as virtual practices, but we're resting a lot of people. Najee Harris was rested, but he practiced fully today. Isaac Seumalo rested today, as well as TJ Watt was full today, even though he rested yesterday, technically rested on the day off. Cameron Hayward and Larry Ogunjobi also rested today, but they are going to play. Those guys are definitely going to play. Pruitt was also resting technically yesterday, but was full practice today. Alex Highsmith did not practice either yesterday or today. He is actually injured, and the only injury on this roster that I see that would keep anyone out of this game, because Corey Trice Jr. has been full practicing the past 2 days, virtually yesterday, for reals today, and it looks like we're going to be pulling him off of injured reserve and getting him to play. Now, the interesting aspect is actually on the Cleveland Browns injury roster, because they were relatively healthy going into last game. They look like they got fairly banged up, and being on a short week, this lends a lot of interesting situations on who's going to be playing. Their guard, Joel Bitonio, is limited today. I'm not going to go over anybody that's full. Those guys will be playing. Elijah Moore was limited today. Myles Garrett did not practice today. He is not listed as a veteran rest. This is listed as a hip injury. So it'll be interesting to see whether he practices tomorrow and can actually play in the game. Greg Newsome, the corner, is limited. David Njoku, the great tight end that always busts us for some reason, is limited. Jeff Swaim, the tight end, has a concussion. He's in concussion protocol, it looks like. And without practicing yesterday or today, is going to make it very difficult for him to clear protocol by Thursday. But he can. If he's a full participant tomorrow and then he has no symptoms on Thursday before the game, he's going to be playing. But right now, concussion protocol makes Jeff Swaim a little bit tougher to be able to play. Denzel Ward, the other corner, a lot of their corners being banged up, limited again today with the ribs and ankle. And their offensive tackle, Jedrick Wills, limited as well, listed as a DNP for the virtual practice the day before. So a lot of people banged up for the Cleveland Browns. I hate Thursday games, guys. Short week. I at least love what Tomlin is doing for a lot of these players, giving a lot of our big vets like Seumalo, Hayward, Ogunjobi, these older guys, giving them 2 days off, basically 1 day of practice this week. They don't need to practice. These guys need rest. They are old veterans, been in the league 10 years. Let those guys rest. We'll go out and we'll play, and they will be ready to play. But I hate these damn short weeks, because if you're banged up, it turns into a big injury. So fingers crossed, we get through this damn Thursday game without any big injuries. We enjoy our mini bye, and we hit the ground running hard for that Cincinnati game following this game against Cleveland on Thursday. Guys, it's your show. Welcome to your show at Steeler Nation. Everybody knows you chime in, we read it. HD, here we go. Steelers, here we go. Kings of the North. That's it, HD. Welcome to the show. You got any questions? Let us know, my friend. Miles, Stryker, the Ravens lose again. I like how, I think it was Colin Cowherd was stating that for a rivalry, you've got to have back and forth. There's no back and forth in this rivalry right now. Right now, the Ravens are the little brother to the Steelers. They've lost now 7 of the last 8, or is it 8 of the last 9 with this one included? It might be 8 of the last 9. Steelers are owning. They own Mr. Jackson. Sorry, Mr. Jackson. Steelers are for real. Great meme that I saw. I got to sing it. So Steelers know how to play Jackson. We did a great job of penning in Henry. Fortunately, forcing that fumble early. Big stuff in that game, at least. But the incredible thing was that the Ravens coaches always shoot themselves in the foot. This is the second time I've seen instances where the Steelers have beaten the Ravens because of bad coaching. One was when Ray Rice didn't get a carry in the entire second half against Batch, and they ended up firing their offensive coordinator that year. This year, Derrick Henry didn't get a carry in the fourth quarter. Not a single touch, and was not on the field on the two-point conversion. Baltimore is going nuts over those issues alone. They're already calling for Harbage to be fired yet again. And now we're going to have a Harbage on Harbage crime. And I do not know how the hell the Ravens are picked to win against the Chargers in LA, against this brother that knows how to play them, against a team with a better defense and a way better front seven. One of the best front sevens in the league, and a better scoring defense than the Steelers. Put your money on the Chargers to cover. Absolutely. Or the Chargers, because if they lose by 3, I think you're still making money. Or 2, you're still making money. That is insane. I think that's a sure bet. I think the Ravens lose their second game in a row. And I'm starting to go out on the line here that the Ravens are not elite. I think the Ravens are frauds. And I'll tell you why. They've got 4 losses. 2 against great teams in the AFC. Kansas City week 1. Steelers last week. 2 against the single worst teams in the AFC. If I said NFC, I meant AFC. The Raiders that came back from a big deficit to beat them in the second half. And the Cleveland Browns, who for some reason own the Ravens. I don't know why. It might be that whole you stole our team, we're going to play hard every time we play you because you stole our team type of mindset. But man, I think the Ravens are frauds. And nobody in the league has even talking about that aspect of it. How do you always say that they're an elite team when 2 of their losses were Cleveland and the Raiders? I know they're talking about, oh, it's a divisional game. Well, what about the Raiders? Raiders are dog crap. They're absolute bunk. They lost to the Raiders. And they were at home. And they were up big. That's a bad loss. That tells me this is a team that's going to be going out early in the playoffs. Now, I want to go on the other side. You guys know the title of this show. Steelers are elite. The reason why is a secret. The reason why I've been listening to all the shows, they're all forgetting a reason. Because I don't know what the Steelers might be. You're missing the biggest damn reason why the Steelers are elite. First, let's just go over the playoff standings right now. Steelers are obviously top of the North, but they've beaten all 3 current wild card teams. Denver, Baltimore, and the Chargers. Beaten all 3 of them. Only Indy, who's on the hunt, did they lose to. That's it. For the AFC, only one AFC loss. We are tied with Kansas City with only 1 AFC loss. Steelers are a Super Bowl caliber team, and you want to know why they are elite? Because it's a 3-phase game. It's not just a 2-phase game. You guys are all forgetting, all of you, all of the NFL analysts, heavy on the ANAL part, are forgetting. Steelers not only have an elite defense, number 1 or number 2, depending on where you're looking, but their special teams are number 1 in the league. Number 1 special teams. And that is all facets. All of them. We're starting to kick to people to have them return in the landing zone for kickoffs. And we're tackling them ahead in the 30. Sometimes we're getting around the 20. Great coverage teams. Same thing with punts. Corliss Waitman. Holy crap. Did this guy come out of nowhere or not? We specifically got Cam to fix our punting. And what has Corliss Waitman done? He's set the record right now. He's on pace to have the best punting average for a Pittsburgh Steeler in a season. Awesome, awesome job. They go and kick a 70-yard punt in the game. I'm like, wow, he kicked that 70 yards and went in the end zone. I wish we had a kicker that could hit 70 yards. Then Waitman bangs a 70-yarder through the end zone. Punting is elite. And we're good at knocking them down and creating turnovers when they catch them. Here, having trouble catching his damn punts. Didn't even talk about Boswell yet. The best kicker in the NFL. Now solidly. Justin Tucker is an afterthought now. We got some good kickers in the NFL this year, but Boz being nearly perfect on the season. What is he, 9 for 10, I believe, over 50 right now? Yep, he is 9 for 10. His only miss, Boswell's only miss, is a 63-yarder. And that didn't miss by much. And he's kicking in the most difficult place to kick in the NFL. The same place where Tucker would say, oh, I can't kick. That's a terrible field. I can't kick there. Boz didn't have any trouble. He banged 3 over 50. He got 6 kicks in. Ravens are nothing but excuses. A bad coach that always blames the ref and their inability, blames it on themselves. Like, we didn't do we weren't able to execute. Why didn't you execute? Because our defense was down your throat every damn play. Our defense showed up. Our defense was fired up. Look at Herbig on the first carry by Henry. Had a big game. Punched the ball out. Boom. Steeler football. 3 on the board. Big turnover at the end of the half. Big turnover by Queen. Ripping that ball out. Letting the Steelers double their points with 3 at the end of the half and 3 on their first drive in the next at the beginning of the second half. So the Steelers were able to go back-to-back scores without a Ravens possession. Awesome. That's exactly what you want out of clock management, and that's exactly what you want out of deferring possession to the second half. You want to stack scores. Washington did it against us. They did it with two touchdowns, and we still found a way to come back and win that game. Sure, we had our problems in the red zone, and I'll tell you, you're going to have a tough time scoring in the red zone when you don't shoot balls in, when you don't take chances of putting balls into the red zone. The only one I really remember was the one that got picked off. Got a lot of runs, a lot of checkdowns. You got to put the ball in the end zone to get touchdowns. That's the problem with our red zone attack currently. And then the last 2 aspects of special teams that I want to get back to. We've already blocked field goals this season, and we've already blocked punts this season. All of our special teams are absolutely elite. We are making a special team play every game, which is a game changer. Hell, we even had a punt return for a touchdown. And look out if they start kicking these kickoffs to us, because Patterson's back, and we brought him back specifically to return those kickoffs for touchdowns and big gains. And as the weather gets colder in these northern climates, we're going to have more and more chances for Mr. Patterson to be able to return some of these balls and give us another significant advantage on special teams. That is it, guys. No one else in the league has the special teams all the way across the board that the Pittsburgh Steelers do. It is elite, and it is why in 2 phases we are automatically elite. It is why we can win games without scoring touchdowns. And if we start scoring touchdowns, we're not going to lose games. Awesome, awesome, Dom. And this is a fun time to start rooting for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Coming back to your comments. I thought I had here we go, AV. Thanks for keeping up the momentum with no negativity. I have no time for negativity. I'm a positive guy. It comes from being a Steeler fan for 50 years. HD, facts. We own those dirty birds and Lamar. Exactly. Special teams has definitely been overlooked right now. Exactly. Boswell for MVP. Definitely going to get player of the week this week. And I'll tell you, this guy will be the AP kicker this year. Also, for an interesting stats, if you guys did not know, he's on pace to beating David Akers, the old Philadelphia Eagles kicker. His record for most field goals in a season, which I believe is 49. We're on pace. And it couldn't happen to a better guy. HD, not to mention that run stop that TJ Sack Watt had on Henry. That was a big blow up in the backfield. And that is probably the hardest that Henry has gotten hit in the backfield this season. He was surprised. I'm surprised that ball didn't pop out again, but still amazing to get a Henry ball on the ground. And I'll just make another quick note, guys, just on the fact that the way that the turnovers happened in this game, they weren't mistakes by the Ravens. They were takeaways by the Pittsburgh Steelers. A lot of times fumbles, maybe a botch snap, maybe a bad handoff, maybe catch and get hit, which is more of a forced turnover. But this is punched from behind, ball on the ground. Ripped as he's going down, ball on the ground. Guy looked like he caught the ball with Peyton on him. I can't believe that that's one of the single greatest interceptions I've ever seen. And I've watched Troy Polamalu. That was an incredible interception. He wasn't even looking at the guy. He just stuck his hand right up between it, ripped it down to his chest as he went down to the ground. Receiver never had possession. Ball never touched the ground. That was an amazing interception. Not Lamar Jackson's fault at all. That was a well-thrown ball and thrown in the right spot. That is just an amazing play by a young player that is hopefully going to be making more amazing plays for us, since we've had so much trouble finding these inside linebackers in the draft since Shazier, since Bush. Now it looks like we're starting to get them in later rounds, and that is freaking fantastic. Miles, Ravens lose again. Yes, they do. Yo, Stryker. Yo, Cooley. Welcome to the show. Ravens remain a poverty franchise. Well, I wouldn't say a poverty franchise. They know how to win in the regular season. I just don't think that this team is as good as they were last year. Their defense is not as good. Don't get me wrong, their defense got up to play us. They played their asses off against us last game. I don't expect them to play that against any other team, because I've seen them play Cincinnati. I've seen them play Cleveland. I've seen them play the Raiders. I've seen them, every game that they played, they've had to outscore the other team, unless I think they had one blowout. I can't remember I think they blew out Buffalo. That was the crazy one. They got ahead of Buffalo early and they blew them out. But ever since that game, they have not looked like an elite AFC team. John in Pittsburgh, Ron Burgundy, that Ron! Hey, that's a guy I've been to a Steeler game with. Good to hear from you, Ron. Welcome to the show. You are always welcome, my friend. Any questions, let us know. Miles, 9 of the last 12 we won. Wow, that is huge. Mo Shaka Steel, love you, baby. Welcome back. Aloha from Maui. Thank you so much. Thank you for bringing us the sunshine and the positivity, my friend. We're happy to have you back on the show. It's been a while. Robert, Boz might be a good kicker one day. He's been a good kicker. And I'll tell you one thing. We may have forgotten this, Steeler Nation, but in 2018, a lot of you guys were talking about getting rid of Boz on my show. A lot of you were. And I said, you don't get rid of a guy like that. He was injured. He was playing injured. I said, stay it down. That was the year he had 13 field goals on the season on 20 attempts. 70 missed. That is a 65% field goal percentage. And in any other team in this league, that gets you fired. You don't have a job after doing something like that, especially when he made the Pro Bowl the year before in 2017 over Justin Tucker in his prime. 2018 was a down year, but ever since then, ripping it. And especially ripping it over 50 yards. He was average over 50 yards, like up until 2021. Over 50 yards. His best season, he was 4 for 4 in 2017, his Pro Bowl year. He didn't take more than 2 attempts in a season over 50 yards in 15, 16, 18, or 19. Only 1 attempt in 18. Made it. But since then, 2021, 8 for 9, over 50 yards. 2022, 7 for 9, over 50 yards. 2023, 6 for 7, over 50 yards. And halfway through the 2024 season, he's already hit his record. 9 for 10, over 50 yards. Of course, that only miss if they had another bracket for 60 plus. He'd be 0 for 1, and he'd be 9 for 9 on 50 yarders. Dude is in freaking sane. Love him. Kenny Beamer, let's go! Let's go, Kenny Beamer. Mean Green, hello there. This is my first time on your live stream. I have been a Steelers fan since 75, and I totally bleed black and gold. Go Steelers. Welcome to the show. You're a great addition. Any fan from the 70s, myself included, is welcome on my show. You got any questions or comments, please throw them out there, Mean Green. Love to hear. Miles, Boz Special Teams Player of the Year, TJ DPOI, Herbig, dog. Peyton Wilson, dog. Patrick Queen, dog. Steelers, dogs. I am so glad. This is the Patrick Queen I was expecting. I was waiting for it to turn on. Beginning of the season, maybe he had like 1 or 2 plays that were like, that's a good play. Until the last 3 games, dude has been turning it up. Great game against Daniels in Washington, playing sideline to sideline, tracking him down for short gains. He was a dog. And then, of course, Tomlin pushed all the right buttons. All the right buttons for him. They didn't want you in Baltimore. We wanted you in Pittsburgh. Go out and show them why they should have kept you. Boom. Big rip. Big tackle in the hole. A nice play downfield in the passing game. Thank you, Patrick Queen, for coming to the Steelers. We needed you. And I'm happy as hell to have you. And at 13 mil, you're a freaking steal. And I kept telling my friends that. I'm like, they're like, well, we couldn't sign him. He was too expensive. I was like, we got him for 13 mil. Your interior was elite last year with Roquan and Queen. Roquan Queen. Those guys were killing it last year. Now, their defense sucks. Again, that's against us, but their defense is not doing as well without Roquan Queen. I'll tell you that. They let the wrong guy go, and at 13 mil for an starting inside linebacker that is an elite player, that's cheap. That is cheap. It's way under 20, I'll tell you that. Way under 20. Way under 18. JPJ dog. Exactly. Another great point. No penalties for Joey Porter Jr. last game. Was shutting down. And I was even noticing they were moving Joey Porter Jr. to Flowers. And I was noticing times where he was playing slot corner when they lined Flowers up in the slot. And Flowers wasn't getting the ball in those. His touchdown, of course, came against DJ. He's a great receiver. He is definitely, in my opinion, the best receiver the Ravens have drafted. Elite route runner, excellent hands, smart player, deep speed, elite speed, good wiggle. Guys, he doesn't have a weakness in his game unless you put Joey Porter Jr. on him. That guy shuts people down. So we still held him to a modest receiving day. I think he was around 28 yards, but he did get his touchdown to try to tie up that game with that 2-point conversion, which Joey Porter Jr. shut down. But the big reason why that play got shut down, watch that 2-point conversion again. They're like, what are you trying to do, Lamar? What are you trying to do? What's going on? It was a sweep. It was a designed sweep, and it should have worked. Except we made the play on that play. Go watch it again. Watch Herbig take out 3 blockers on that play and push them back into Lamar, so he had to run backwards before he could come back around that side. 3 guys that should be lead blocking. 1 guy took them out. 1 guy. That was an elite play by Herbig, and Herbig that's just as big as his forced fumble on Henry. That was an insane play, and a big play for a guy just coming back to help us out since Highsmith went down. Big play, and love him to death for making that play. Can Williams get a target? He didn't play as much this past game. I think he only got like 20 snaps, 24. I wanted to see him get more targets, to tell you the truth, too. I'd rather see him get more targets than frickin' Austin. Miles, I want him to get those targets downfield, not Miles Austin. How about them targeting Deontay Johnson downfield? How about everybody in black and gold waving a towel, knowing Deontay Johnson is not a deep ball receiver? Those 50-50 balls were always 20-80, and he was on the 20 side. He is not a good deep ball receiver. He is an excellent short yardage, mid yardage receiver. Excellent, off the charts. Not a good deep yardage receiver. And Thanks again for not catching those balls because he was held to a goose egg, even though we were throwing some targets to him instead of Zay Flowers. Love it. Absolutely love it. Another big reason why we won that game. Thank you very much, Deontay Johnson, for us getting the better DJ in that trade. Miles, Frazier, and McCormick dogs. Keep them coming. Keep it. Those rookies are killing it at center and at right guard. And I love how since Frazier's come back, there have been 0 issues with snaps. He had an issue every single game with Fields as his quarterback, snapping that football. One of them cost us a game, that Indianapolis game. But now he's perfect. And now he's getting downfield. He's got his big boy pants on. He's making plays. And I'm loving it. I am loving some Frazier too. And great call out for McCormick as well, Miles. Miles, they said the Steelers would have a long season. They said Russ Wilson and Fields can't lead us to the promised lands. They said our division was too good for us to succeed. Let me tell you what. And let me tell you what. If any prognosticator is saying anything less than 9 wins with a Tomlin team, they're not worth their salt as a broadcaster. Not at all. Because Tomlin, all he does is win, 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 no matter what. What? What? And why don't we play turn down for Watt every time Watt gets a sack? We need to start doing that. My gosh, they were doing it in Houston with JJ. We need to do it in Pittsburgh. My gosh, that would be bigger than Sticks. That'd be bigger than Renegade. Imagine that place going nuts if they're playing turn down for what? Every time he gets a sack or a forced fumble or an interception or a pass defensed. Fire up that crowd. Come on. Their marketing department needs to freaking hire me. I'm telling you, they're missing out on a lot of stuff. Miles, we are legit. Yes, we are. And after that win, all I'm hearing is all of the reasons why Baltimore couldn't win, or it's like, Baltimore did this wrong or Baltimore did that wrong. Maybe, just freaking maybe, the Steelers' defense is elite. Maybe, just maybe, their special teams are elite. Maybe, just maybe, their offense is just good enough to make sure that the other 2 phases can help them win games. Because that's what we're seeing right now against our biggest division rival in a tough game that is always ugly. These are not surprises for the league, and the league wants to make excuses. But I'll tell you a fact, an absolute fact. Lamar Jackson, MVP candidate, 2-time MVP, should be an MVP frontrunner in a lot of people's minds. Number 1 offense in the NFL. Nothing against our defense. Why? Because he hasn't been playing our defense this year. His number is going to start dropping when he's got to play us twice. And this is, I'm excited to play teams like Kansas City now, especially the way their defense is going. They're not a good defense. They're making plays, but you can move the ball on them. Robert, might have been Lamar's best game against the Steelers. Still lost. True. He really wasn't the problem. We didn't get those 5-6 sacks like we normally get against Lamar. He didn't put balls on the ground as a fumble. And honestly, that interception was a beautiful ball in the air, out of that guy's hand. 10 times out of 10, his receiver is the only one with a chance to catch that ball. That is the first time I've ever seen that type of interception. That was amazing. But I agree with you. I thought Lamar played a fairly good game. And he knew he was running the sweep on that play. It wasn't his fault that Herbig blew up 3 guys and forced him backwards and slowed down that entire play so that he couldn't get a ball off. Not his fault. That's the way it happens sometimes. John! Agree, Ravens should often shoot themselves in the foot. Also the most penalized team in the league. And that, ladies and gentlemen, why is our ball not getting slammed for that? Let's think back some seasons here, Steeler fans. In September, Steelers were always a little rusty, always getting a lot of penalties. We knew that September Steelers would get a lot of penalties. October, they got better. November and December, they locked it down. So what's up in Ravens? I mean, they're significantly leading the league in penalties. It's not even close how many penalties they have. They're near 100 now. I think they had 80 going into that game. What do they have, 12? 92 now? And you're calling this a Super Bowl caliber team with no defense and all the penalties in the world? And they still haven't figured it out by midseason? Lost to their division opponent that they're supposed to mop up because they're elite? No, I don't see it. They're not as good as the rest of the sports announcers will lead you to think they are. And I don't see them beating the Chargers this weekend. I really don't. Your bigness. Hey, your bigness. That's going to be a good game, right? Last team with the ball wins. You talking about for Steelers, Cleveland, or you talking about for Ravens, Chargers? Not sure. Dawn! How about Russ beating the Broncos in the AFC Championship and the Seahawks in the Super Bowl? That would be he'd love to do that. Well, it would be the best, actually, if we beat just any time. Beating we could beat Denver in the divisional round. Hopefully we get a first round bye. Guys, something else I wanted to talk about on this show quick. Thank you for reminding me, Dawn. Steelers have the inside track for the 1 seed in the AFC. We own it. We control our own playoff path to the 1 seed. How? Win out. If we win out, we're the 1 seed because we play Kansas City. They've got 1 loss. One of their losses is an AFC loss. They lose to us. It's a head-to-head loss. We got the tiebreak already on Buffalo because they have 2 AFC losses. We have 1. That's our number 1 seed. We don't have to worry about what Buffalo does. We don't have to worry about what KC does. We win our games. We are the 1 seed. We get the bye. Are we going to do it? I mean, I'm not going to hold my breath and think it's going to happen, but we have the path. The pathway is set. I think Kansas City's going to lose more games. I think Buffalo's going to lose more games. I know the Ravens are definitely going to lose more games. They got 3 games coming up here that are tough. I think it's Houston, Chargers, and they got somebody else really good. I can't recall who it is, though, off the top of my head. But they've got a tough run right now. Oh, Philly Eagles. Yep. So they got three tough games coming up. Our next 3, Cleveland, Cincy, Cleveland. Cleveland, Cincy, Cleveland. We got a Cleveland. We got an Ohio sandwich with a Tiger King in the middle. Munch them up. Now, I'll tell you though, I will go another way here too. Cleveland, I'm not worried about. We know how to play Cleveland. When we lose to Cleveland, it's always a game where we turn the ball over like 8 times. We do dumb stuff to lose to Cleveland. Can it happen? Yes, it can happen. Am I expecting it to happen? I'm not expecting it to happen, but it could happen. But Cincinnati is the single greatest 4-win team I've ever seen. How do you beat the Bengals this season? You have to outscore them. Joe Burrow is killing it this year. Look at his numbers. Look at his freaking numbers. If we had him on our team with those numbers, we'd be undefeated. Nobody would get close to us. They are killing it on offense. They just have no defense. They have no special teams. They're a one-phase team. They're only offense. But we're going to have to find a way to outscore them, or hopefully our defense is enough to turn some of those touchdowns into field goals. Because that's how we beat Daniels. But we still had to score our touchdowns. We're going to have to score when we play Cincinnati. We don't necessarily have to score against Cleveland to win as much. But we might have to start putting up 30 points to beat the Bengals. Miles, we will win the Super Bowl because of our depth at every single position. We are built to last. Yeah, this is insane. And right now, knock on wood, we are a healthy team. That's why I hate these Thursday games. These are the ones that are making me bite my nails. And I just noticed I'm wearing orange today. Unintentional for our matchup on Thursday. Yet. I hate these Thursday games. No rest, though I do like it saying extra rest for the 10-year vets. That's freaking smart by Tomlin. Hopefully it'll help out Hayward. Hopefully it'll help out Samalu, Okunjobi. Those guys need that kind of rest. They don't need practice. Just have them go through practice on the last day, which is essentially a walkthrough, I believe. Like, I don't think we're even going to be like a full practice because we play the next day. So we essentially have a virtual practice, a real practice, and a walkthrough before Thursday. And we're local. It's not much of a travel for us. It's 2 hours up the road. Don't even need to get on an airplane to go play Cleveland. Get on the bus. Hop on the bus. That's it. So, still sleeping in their own beds. Take the bus to the stadium in the morning. You know, I like this matchup. If we have to play somebody on Thursday and it has to be on the road, I'm glad it's in Cleveland. That works out for the Steelers. Just hopefully we get out of here without any major injuries. Because after that, if we're relatively healthy, we got a nice mini bye and we're starting to set for the rest of the season. Donald, 2 more wins is like a guaranteed playoff spot, I think. Yeah, we're at 8 right now. I think 3, really, but just looking at the way that the AFC is, I think I looked at it. Indianapolis has to win out to make to at least get up to 11 wins or 10 wins. They have to win out to get to 10 because they have 5 wins. 6, if they win out, they get to 11. That's not that they're going to do that, but they can. That's like the only team that can catch us and have a tiebreak on us. But Steelers only have to win 3 more. And we might do it with our Ohio sandwich here in the next 3 games. Orangey Ohio sandwich. It's like a manwich. Picture a leaky manwich. All that orange and brown meat tucked in there. Nom, 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 nom. Hopefully we can eat our way into a solid first place mark. And if we're sitting at the end of the Ohio sandwich at 11-2, look out, league. That's when we start our real tough games, because I think right after that we have Ravens, Eagles, Cincy. Right? Those are the 3-3. Yep. Ravens, Eagles, Cincy to finish off the season. Which is the games, if you want to really have that elite spot, those are tougher games to win. But if we have our 11 games, which I think we need to make the playoffs, that's it. But we're talking about an 11-2 team. That's when we start talking about first seed rankings, because the other teams will fall into place as well. Maybe KC drops a game. Maybe Buffalo drops another game. But Steelers are all lined up for that head-to-head matchup on Christmas Day against a team with a worse defense that is not as good as they were last year. They're winning. They're smart. They're winning because they have excellent coaching. They're winning because they have an offensive player that knows how to win and does not get flustered in these situations. But they can be beaten. And Buffalo showed you how. So, looking forward to that. And we got a better defense than Buffalo and special teams. Brian, Steelers are elite because it's hard to outscore them. The Steelers aren't exactly blowing it up on offense. Steeler D, exactly. Our D is elite. Brian Brown, special teams helps too. They're pretty elite, aren't they? They should put Danny Smith on a pouch of Big League Chew. Yeah, I saw like a Bazooka Joe sign that somebody made with Danny Smith on it. It was freaking awesome. Jack, Ravens coach is suspect. His brother is better. His brother's a better cheater, I'll tell you that. That's why he's not in the college anymore. Yo, Joy, how you better? John, welcome back there, John. I see you, John. Your bigness. The Ravens offense is legit. Our defense just came to play. Well, our defense is legit as well. Hello, league. There's only one team that's put up points against us, and that was Indy. That was it. I mean, technically Washington did too, and they've got a great offense as well. They have the best offense in the NFC. Best offense in the NFC, our defense beat them. Best offense in the AFC, our defense beat them. Defense, a better defense can beat a better offense. That's what evens it out. And as long as our offense scores just enough, we will win a lot of games. Michael Scott Joyner! We get a sneak peek at JF packages. Yep, Justin Fields. I see him in the red zone, short yardage plays. I only want him on short yardage. Don't just throw him in the red zone. Just short yardage. And it was smart to have him in on the closeout drive. Really was smart. Slid a little early. You dive head first, that game's already over. But they still got it with Fields at the helm. So I give Fields all the respect and all the kudos for helping us get to victory formation and kneeling down to win that game for us. Because honestly, like our offensive coordinator saying, we have 2 starting quarterbacks. Yeah, we've never had 2 starting quarterbacks on this roster. Trying to think of the last time we had 2 starting quarterbacks on it. I mean, don't give me Trubisky. Trubisky's like the only quarterback that has a losing record under Tomlin. All the other quarterbacks, pretty much I did a layout of all the quarterbacks underneath the Tomlin that have started games. Trubisky's the only one with a losing record. Everybody, Duck, Rudolph, Kenny, everybody else winning records. Landry frickin' Jones, winning record as a starter. Trubisky was not a starter, man. Not even close. Not even close. So, no, I wouldn't say Trubisky. I'd say probably the last time we had 2 starters at quarterback, Leftwich and Big Ben. That's the last time. We won a Super Bowl that year. Leftwich got hurt early, but Batch became the guy that came in and won some games for us. That was a good year. That was a good year. Art, we got beat. We got to beat Browns. We got to beat the Browns and not play down to them. Well, it's a divisional game. They're going to be up for playing for us. I do like Jameis Winston. I do like him as a quarterback. And I do think he's a better quarterback than Deshaun Watson. I really do. But for some reason, Browns are going to brown, man. Bad coaching, bad front office, bad city. Everybody's just there. It's like, And if Steelers make a big play, their shoulders are going to slump. Their tails are going to go between their legs and the dog pound. Those guys know what it's like when the big brother comes to town. With that black and gold steamroller coming down the field. And guys, they're the worst rushing defense in the league. So look for Naj to have a big day because we need Naj to have a big day. This is the day Naj needs to put this team on his back and show us how we can dominate a team on the ground and control time of possession, control the clock, control the scoring, hold them to very few possessions. And what few possessions they have, our well-rested number 1D is going to come and punish them. I can't wait for this game. Absolutely can't. Donald, is Highsmith able to play against the Browns? No, he's out. He's got an ankle injury. Fortunately, like I said, it's a low ankle sprain, 2 to 3 weeks. Has not started practicing at all. So if he hasn't started practicing on a short week, he will not play this week. So he was out. Has a chance of coming back for the next game, though, against Cincinnati. Has a chance. But the way Herbig's playing and the way we just grabbed that new guy from Green Bay as well, made a big sack for us in the backfield, sacking the receiver that was looking to pass. Great, great options. And we still have Moon as the 5th guy. I love our depth at outside linebacker this year. Our depth is fantastic. Like we said even earlier, it was Miles or somebody saying, look at the depth. We didn't have inside linebackers at all 2 years ago. Con rebuilt that whole room. We were deep last year, and all of them got hurt. All of them. But this year we got Landon Roberts back. He's playing well. We still have Robinson on the roster. We still have Matakevich on the roster. And those are the guys behind, Wilson making plays down the field, getting interceptions, as well as making big tackles, and Queenie solidifying it. Those 3 up front, man, rotating in, staying fresh. Hey, man, that was a bad position. And offensive line, asses kicked. We had our butts kicked this season with injuries. But now we're starting to get people back. We literally have everybody back on the offensive line except for Daniels. And our undrafted rookie, late round drafted rookie is killing it at guard. Absolutely doing a great job over there. And I love it. 2 rookies at center and right guard. You'd expect that to be a point to exploit. We're not getting people getting sacks up there. We're not getting multiple rushes up that side. They're holding their own. And those guys are doing a great job. Miles, I saw a clip of Queen covering Zay Flowers on a post step for step. He's athletic and fat. He is. He is a very athletic 3-down middle linebacker. Guy is great. And that's why I was happy to get him. Ravens lost our game. I'm glad he's on it. One man's trash is another man's treasure. I'm glad he's on our team. Excellent Tomlinism. Hitting the frickin' slamming the point in the back, dunking on the Ravens with that one. Miles, DJ is still good on his grind of dropping footballs and doing nothing on his other teams for the year. We won the trade tenfold. Yeah, he had like that one good game in Carolina. Oh, Deontay Johnson, he's a good player. And then, of course, mental case. He's a mental case too. For some reason, everybody keeps blaming Tomlin for all these mental case wide receivers. He's the only coach that gets anything out of them. I'll say it again. If you want to hang that Mike Tomlin only has mental case receivers, he's the only coach that gets anything out of those mental case receivers. Stick that in your hat there, Shannon Sharp. I heard you say it. Your bigness, her big, her bigness, you're big, I'm big, we're big, her big. Love. Her big play is his new nickname now. Her big play. Hey, Tim Burrow in the house. How you doing, Tim Burrow? Quan, what do you think about we sign Eric back? Eric. Sign Eric back. I don't know which Eric you're talking about. I'm losing it. Pop it down. Somebody else pop it down. I don't know who you're talking about. Much better see Williams on the deep ball than CA3 or Van Jefferson shouldn't be on the field. I'm done with Van Jefferson. An X receiver that only gets 1 to 2 targets a game, you shouldn't be on the field. I don't care if Williams is a Z receiver, which he is. I'd rather have him running X routes than whatever the hell Van Jefferson's trying to do. Not worth it. Robert, your boy Deontay got no payback. One of many Lamar wide receivers to let him down. You missed earlier in the show. I rode him hard. And as we know as Steeler fans, Deontay Johnson is not a deep ball receiver and wasted 2 deep ball opportunities in that game. That's the boy we love to hate. And now we love to hate him for a team that's playing against us. Robert, funny thread on a Ravens site about how Tomlin is elite compared to Harbaugh. Oh, God, definitely. Look at their matchups. 8 out of the last 9? I mean, we own Harbaugh. What did he do to Harbaugh's brother when we played the Chargers? Spanked him. We own the Harbaughs. Who has it better than we do? Tomlin. That's who has it better than we do, the Harbaugh family. Don't say nobody, because the one guy is Tomlin. Who has it better than us? No, Tomlin. Eat it, Harbaughs. Tim Burrow. Thought the only season that matters is postseason. Though the only season that matters is postseason, regular season record, other than getting enough to enter the playoffs, is meaningless. Mike Tomlin is very impressive against the Ravens and Commies. Yeah, that was a great game against the Commies as well. Absolutely was. Especially Commies were the number 1 offense in the NFC. Our defense shut them down. Ravens number 1 offense in the AFC. Our defense shut them down. That's how you win. Miles. Also, a little shout out for someone who has gone unrecognized. Dean Lowry. He has been showing up, blocked a field goal, blocked a decent amount of passes, got a sack a couple games ago. Yeah, Lowry's doing a good job with the snaps he's getting. And I think he's an undrafted guy or a guy that we brought in off of the waiver wire as a project player. Guy's been making plays for us. I'm happy for him making some plays for us and making us better. Good call, Miles. Robert, years like that, it appears the Steelers will rack up regular season record that looks good, makes the failure in the playoffs last decade. Yeah, you keep wanting to push that narrative, man. Yeah, Stryker last couple decades, meaning all the decades in the last decade, because 2010 is the last decade before that, and I agree with that. That's fine, even though the decade starts in 2000, it ended in 2009, started in 2010, ends in 2019. So no, 2010 is technically in the 2010s decade. So we made the Super Bowl that year. Robert, year 1 was the first year ever of the first decade, which should have been year 10. Yep, no, you're doing your math wrong, dude. Sam is a true year for the 2010s being the last year of because we started in 2000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's how you get 10 in a decade. That's why 1980 starts with a 0. That's why 1990 starts with a 0 and the 90s are a decade. Brian, Browns are going to play up for this game. Chubb, and they want this bad for the Browns Packers. Chet said they want this bad for the Browns backers. Okay, sorry, I misread it. Brian Davis. absolutely right. They are going to be up. Chubb is definitely going to be up because he got hurt the last time we played him. We're calling him Mr. Chubb, which I kind of love now because anytime it seems like Tomlin is starting to call the other team Mr. This, Mr. Jackson, now Mr. Chubb, our game plan is to shut him down. We are not going to let Chubb beat us. We are going to play the line of scrimmage. We're going to force Jameis Winston to beat us. He's a good passer. He's got the ability to beat us. Cheers, Steeler Nation. I'm drinking a pickleback. Electrolytes. Yeah, you look it up, dude. Being a down because I'm impressed with the Mike last couple games. Just saying that 9-8 and getting to the playoffs and winning is much better than 17-0 and not. And I agree with that. And I understand. We are frustrated, Robert. Me as well. I'm frustrated with not winning the playoffs. It's incredible how a coach like this can take a team with Rudolph to the playoffs, can take a team with Kenny Pickett to the playoffs. And of course, we're not expecting to win those games with them in there, or we're at a disadvantage to win those games when we're going up against much better teams in the playoffs. But I will take Russell Wilson. I will take Fields, either guy in the playoffs this year, to win a game. Because I think we can. I definitely think we can. In fact, you're in a bad division. If you sneak in at 7-10 and win a single playoff game, then you did not have a losing season, even though you had less wins than losses. I can understand that reasoning. Robert, not Steeler related, but Dallas being 0-5 at home this year makes me happy. I am so pissed that we lost to that team. I am really pissed, and it took them the last play to do it. I give Dak all the credit in the world, making a really tough throw to win that game on 4th down. But it's not who you play, it's when you play them. We got Dallas with Dak. Dallas without Dak can't win. If we played Dallas without Dak, we'd only have one loss. It's not who you play, it's when you play them. Robert, 17-0 season, then losing. Yeah, you kept talking about that. Upset Watson is injured for the year. Can't have the pleasure of beating his loser butt. And I really wanted to see him too. Because I'm not afraid of Watson at all. Washington's effort on the pick Russ threw in the end zone was sad. Almost looked like he thought a Steeler was behind him. Though it was a bad throw. He probably did think somebody was behind him because the ball was thrown so high. He should have been boxing out and had the ball here in front of him. And it should have been laser in front of him to try to give him a chance to catch that ball. And Russell Wilson will tell you it was the wrong decision, and so will Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin said he shouldn't have thrown that ball. At least the way that he threw it. If he threw a laser, that had a chance of being a touchdown, but not the way he threw it. I stay consistent about Coach C's complete failure in the playoffs. Yeah, you have a nice narrative. Beat the clown show. Let's go Steelers. Thursday night. Here we go, Mean Green. That's exactly it. Ravens, Chiefs, Eagles, Bungles. That's who we play to finish the season. Yeah, I think I forgot the Chiefs in that one. But yeah, that's a tough finish. The Ohio sandwich we got to eat. We got to eat these next 3 games of the Ohio sandwich. Cleveland, Cincy, Cleveland. Eat it up. Ohio sandwich. We get those 3 wins. These last 4 games are the gauntlet. This is the playoffs before the playoffs. So I don't know if the Chiefs are going to be trying to rest people by then. I don't know if the Eagles are going to be trying to rest people by then. You don't know. It's going to be weird. But it'll be interesting just to see how it works out. But I will state that the Steelers' record, their schedule this year was absolutely perfect. And I even said this in the preseason because I was off of the doom and gloom. Oh, Steelers have the worst record in the league. Look at the record after the bye. Look at all these tough teams. Look at them playing their entire division. But we had a very easy front half. We had a winnable front half. Didn't have a whole lot of high caliber teams on the front half, which is the exact thing that you want for a new offense with a new offensive coordinator and 2 new quarterbacks to get comfortable in the season, to get ready to play. We put in Russell Wilson. What did I tell you on the show? the week that we put him in for the Jets, you have to put him in this week. If you're going to play him, it better be against the Jets and the Giants before the bye to get him ready for the gauntlet. And what's he done? Win, 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 win. 4 wins in a row, matched Justin Fields' win total in 6 games. He did in 4. That is the interesting aspect. Now we're hitting the ground rolling. We got the Ohio sandwich. 3 more games here to ramp up. And if we're hitting and our stride on offense, look out. Because I don't fear Ravens. I don't fear the Chiefs at home. I don't fear the Eagles on the road anymore. If our offense is clicking with our elite defense and our elite special teams, look out. It could be a deep run to Burrow. Previously discussed Marvin Lewis, the only other coach either of us could think of who has not won a playoff game for 7 years in a row and kept his job. I haven't found any others. Have you? Well, letting you know, Marvin Lewis was doing it with good quarterbacks. Tomlin was doing it with trash. And with Ben Roethlisberger with a half an arm in 2 of those years. Happily take being 9-8 every year, snapping playoffs most year, winning 17-0 playoff losers. Yeah, you only said it 3 times. Brian, Deontay Johnson with 2 big drops early in the game set the tone. He knows how to set a tone. I just like that he's taking receptions away from Zay Flowers. Loved it. Dana, great game. Hell yeah, Dana. Welcome back. Good to see you. Donald, welcome to the show. They need to watch Miles. He always gets around the outside of the line. Surprisingly, Moore kind of owns him. Moore does a great job against Myles Garrett. Moore has held him to clean sheets. Now, doesn't mean he's not going to get pressures. Doesn't mean he's not going to get a sack or make a disruptive play. But Moore does a pretty dang good job against Myles Garrett. And he's banged up this week. He has a hip. He hasn't practiced today. Maybe he's not going to be as elite in his explosion and athleticism, but he's starting to chirp at TJ Watt, saying that, TJ Watt's upset that he won Defensive Player of the Year, like he thinking that he earned it. He didn't earn it. He's not even half the player that TJ Watt is. Not even half. He's going to always be looking up at TJ Watt. Only Rich Eisen thinks it's a big deal with a bright, shiny regular season record. Big picture. It's the same thing. Talk about something else, man. Donald, and if you think they switch TJ to the other side every now and then will cause Browns a problem, it will. It definitely will. 80s went 7 years without a single playoff win. I remember that. Yep. 80s Steelers. No one else cares. I guess they kept Noel those years. So yeah, we don't knee-jerk fire people because of playoff wins. Look at Philadelphia. They fire Andy Reid because he didn't have he had playoff wins. Couldn't win a Super Bowl. Run him out of town. Now he's elite. That's why you don't run guys like that out of town. I was telling all my friends, I lived in Philly those years. I said, you don't run Andy Reid out of town. He's an excellent coach. Excellent coach. And now what's he doing? Winning Super Bowls and creating a freaking dynasty in Kansas City. I tell you, you can do the same thing with Tomlin. Tomlin still has passion for this game. I watched this game, and how about that winning play, forcing them offside in that Commanders game? You see that fist pump? You see him get into it? I'm looking at John Harbaugh on the sideline. John doesn't have it this year. He is not excited in these games. I've seen him for years, animated, yelling at the refs, yelling at his team, yelling all the time. He was like this the whole game. Did you notice that? We know, we see him twice a year. He's like this. Whole game. He was not up for it. He's no longer here for football. I don't know what it is about him. I don't know if something's going on in his personal life or what, because that happened to Cower when his wife was sick with cancer, ended up dying from it. That's big. That gets in your head. Kind of takes your passion out for things. I don't know what's going on in his personal life, but it looks to me like Harbaugh does not have the passion anymore. And he's been coaching for 17 years. Harbaugh, Tomlin matchup second only to Curly Lambeau and Hallis. That's it. And this is an elite matchup. You don't see Hallis or Lambeau going into matchup 40 like this. They were in people's faces. They're yelling at their team. They're firing people up. I don't know what's going on with Harbaugh this year, but he does not seem like himself. He really doesn't seem like himself. It's something that the Ravens fans haven't even talked about yet. And I'm waiting to start talking to Ravens fans about that too. John! What's up, Burgundy? Every team has a head case wide receiver, pretty much. And unless you're lucky enough to get a Larry Fitzgerald or a Hines Ward, those guys are rare. Marvin Harrison, rare. Elite receivers that are football players and are team football players. Love those guys. Absolutely love those guys. Real to crime for TJ. The entire career he's ever known what it's like to win even a single playoff game, and any other coach would have rolled on that alone. They're not done with his career yet. Eric Rowe, safety. Oh, Eric Rowe, the safety. Yeah, we just picked him up. You're right. I think they just picked him up. So you asked if we should go get him. I think he was just added to the roster. I don't know if we rostered him or if we put him on practice squad. I think he's practice squad. I'm going to the current roster right now so I can confirm it with you. So give me 1 second. Boop, 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 boop. And that is, crap, who do we say? Rowe, your safety. He's not on the main roster. Going down to check out the practice squad. Practice squad. Yep, Eric Rowe. We just added him today. From Utah, back on the roster. Great down the stretch for us last year. Made some plays for us in games when we activated him for games. And a guy that I expected him to be around too. But we're deep. We are a deep team. Yes, Eric Rowe is back. Dana loved Fields' slider run and Tomlin's decision to put him in for that play. Yeah, I just wish he didn't slide or slid later. But he still made the play. Still made the play. I don't know why you're upset because our team's winning here, Timburo. Russ or Fields? Russ. I said Russ back at the time. I was one of the few people that was happy for the change and wanted to see what Russ could do because I knew Russ is a better throwing quarterback. He is. He just flat out is. Russ wins in Super Bowls, and I guess we keep him, let Justin go. But if Russ doesn't do that, I don't think Fields is polished enough to be our starter next year. We may have a new quarterback next year. It's going to be an interesting situation. If we win a Super Bowl this year with Russ, we're going to try to ask Russ back, and we're going to try to get him at a discount because he's a $40 million a year quarterback. Will he play for 30 so we can buy other people? I don't know. It would help us. Or can we get Fields on a cheaper contract? 25 to 30 range. Can we? Maybe. There's more upside with Fields, and Fields can still develop into an incredible quarterback with all of the God-given talent he's given. He's just not there yet. Is learning for a year right now underneath of Russ helping him? I'm hoping. I'm really hoping. I was happy last game when Tomlin finally listened to me and used Fields in a Cordell Stewart way when O'Donnell started. Yeah, we've been talking about that, and I've been expecting it since Russell Wilson's first start, especially since he injured that calf muscle. I don't want to see him pushing on 3rd and 1s or 4th and 1s. And heck, we couldn't get him with him. So put Fields on the damn field so we can get those 3rd and 1s and 4th and 1s. I'm with you all the way for that. All the way for that, Turnbull. Fields shouldn't be used that way, only occasionally for one series, but instead he should get his own series every quarter, 4 times per game, and then other teams would love to practice against it. No, I completely disagree about putting him in for a full series because there are games where you only get 1 series in a quarter. 2 happens a lot. I want him situationally. Closing out games, short yardage, short goal line. That's where I want him. Inside the 5, on goal line, or 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 4th and 1, 4th and 2. Those are the only situations that I want him on the field right now. Hell, put them both on the field. That would make me even happier, Robert. Why don't we have some packages with both of them on the field? Him is like, because I've seen some teams with 2 quarterbacks have both quarterbacks in the backfield and hand it off to Fields on an option, run or pass. That's going to be a tough thing for teams to play against. When Southern teams are regularly having to practice against both our quarterbacks, it will help Russ also. They're going to have to practice for both, even if they have them in small packages. Miles, first round of the draft, and I'm drafting a wide receiver to pair with Pickens. Yep. If no wide receiver available, then a stud D lineman. Yep. 100%. Both of our D linemen are very, very, very old on the ends. We've got a new young buck here in Benton in the middle. Love him. Love him. Yep, it's time to start restocking that defensive line. You're absolutely right. Or wide receiver. Wide receivers are deep. You can find them in the top 4 rounds now. Really good. You just get good ones later, but situational receivers. But I'm not against drafting a wide receiver in the first round either. And if we don't on day 1, definitely day 2. We're taking a receiver. And I'm fine with them drafting 2 defensive linemen. Or another corner. Hell, you cannot have too many corners. You cannot have too many defensive linemen. You cannot have too many offensive linemen. Wide receiver would be nice, though, to get a good, speedy route runner. That would be really nice to have. Miles, or I'm targeting DK Metcalf this upcoming offseason. Oh, heck yeah. I would have pair Russ Wilson with DK Metcalf. I would have loved to have that. Love to have that. Former Ravens, Elliott and Queen, both made huge splash plays. Former Steeler Deontay did nothing, and that was great. I'm trying to think if they have any other former Steelers on their team right now. Oh, yeah, Mollett, but Mollett was hurt. He wasn't able to play in that game. He was looking forward to playing that game, and I wish he did. He's a good nickel safety, slot corner. He made some good plays for us, too. Robert, George Pickens has lived up to being the wide receiver 1 now and can run a more complete route tree, and he's spectacular as ever. So those who were criticizing last year are silly. I'll tell you one thing, though, about him. I still have a problem with him. He still makes a bonehead play every game. That reach step where he had to stretch out his leg for an extra 3 feet to get out of bounds on that one play, dumb. That was dumb. Jumping on top of players, ripping people down by face masks on play, he needs to stop that crap. 3rd leading receiver in the league currently yardage-wise. But if he stops stepping out of bounds or double hopping or reaching, making a straddle split so his legs or his toes out of bounds, this guy's number 2. Making dumb plays. He still doesn't have it up here yet. He has the God-given talent to be an elite receiver, Megatron level. He doesn't have it here yet. I'm waiting for this to turn on. He's not a team player yet. He's a good blocker. For some reason, he just wants to get in the business and do it the wrong way. And he's going to cost us some yardage there pretty soon. Stryker, you can't say Mike Tomlin the only one that gets anything out of mental coach AB when ABC never won championship with the Steelers, but he did with another team. So the F you talk about, Willis. Yeah, they only had him for like half a season. Great job by the coach that didn't even want to have him on the damn team. Why? Because he had him in Pittsburgh when he was the offensive coordinator. He did not want any part of AB. Who talked him into it? Brady. Brady talked him into it. He had to stay at Brady's house. Brady talked him into that. Robert, really thought the tight ends would see more action on this in this offense. Yeah, me too. Me too. And they're starting to get a little bit more. I mean, look at all the downfield shots that I think Washington had 4 catches last game. So, yeah, we're working them in. I'd like to see Freiermuth get a couple more catches, too. Connor hasn't been targeted in a few weeks, it seems. So, I don't know what's going on with that. But, yeah, definitely get the tight ends working in. Miles, I really wish they had started using Pat more, and I agree, Rob. Yeah, I hear you. He's too good to be left out. He was our 2nd leading receiver, statistic-wise. I don't know if he still is. I haven't looked at the stats recently for the past 3 weeks, I think, for that kind of thing. But for a time, Freiermuth had the second most receptions on the team. Actually, let me look it up quick. Steelers team stat or Steelers stats. Let's see if I got it on here. Hopefully it's for this season. 2024, maybe I got to click on the year. Is that doing it? Yeah, here we go. Rushing and receiving. Receiving. Where's the freaking receptions? There's receptions. So Najee has 21 receptions. Pickens has 48 receptions. Freiermuth has 31 receptions. Freiermuth currently has the 2nd most receptions on the team. Calvin Austin has 33. So it goes Pickens, Freiermuth, Austin, then Harris. Then it looks like Warren, I think. Oh, wait, that's targets. Sorry, that was targets. That targets? No, that was right. Nope, 48 for Pickens, 31 for Freiermuth, 21 for Naj, 18 for Warren, 17 for Austin. It was 17 for Austin, okay? Then 14 for Washington and Van Jefferson. Our second tight end has as many receptions as our starting X receiver. That is atrocious. That is criminal. Absolutely criminal. And then Cordell Patterson was 6. Connor Hayward was 4. Yeah, so that's what you're looking at for the numbers. We are working him into the system. He is a part of our offense, and right now he's the second largest part of the receiving offense. Tamburo, Juju and other wide receivers have also gone on to do pretty darn well with other teams. Your blanket statement about Tomlin, crazy wide receivers, isn't accurate. What's Juju doing now? He's still young enough to be valid in this league. Not doing much, but did well with Kansas City. Kansas City's a great team, great coach, great quarterback. And I think he won a Super Bowl with him. Stryker and Tomlin production out of head case. No one else did. Juju and the others that were left out head cases. Let's talk about, let's run them down, buddy. Let's run them down. Martavis Bryant, Chase Claypool. I'll even say Antonio Brown because he didn't put in a full season. And how did he leave that Tampa Bay team? How did he leave the game of football? Great job. Ripping off his shirt and leaving the field. Yeah, they did a great job coaching with him. They got the most out of him. That's hilarious. I'll say Sanders actually was one of the few receivers that left us and did well in Denver. He had some good years with Manning, but their numbers still aren't as good as their numbers when they were with the Steelers. Even look at Juju's numbers. Juju's numbers were not as good away from the Steelers as they were with the Steelers. AB's numbers were not as good with Tampa Bay as they were with the Steelers. Flat out. That's how he got the most out of his receivers. I think Sanders might be the one that might be close. I know he had a couple big years with Manning, so I'm pretty sure he probably had a season that outpaced his seasons with us. But he was the third receiver in our offense. We had AB and Mike Wallace as our starting X and Y, and Sanders was our Z. Or sorry, Sanders was the Y. Mike Wallace was the Z. AB was the X. So yeah, you go from playing slot receiver on our team to start playing the X receiver over in Denver. You're going to have some better statistics because you're going to get the ball more. Ian! Hey, Stryker, an ugly win. Absolutely was, but a win's a win, as we always know. Agreeing with me helps you look smart, Miles. When Cam retires, bring him back as a coach. It's the only way. I hope so. I hope he wants to do something. Deontay is not a head case wide receiver. He was your favorite Steelers wide receiver and best route runner, and he's level-headed, shy guy, so I don't see how he's fair to call Deontay crazy. You don't trade a wide receiver mid-season when you just picked him up, unless something's wrong with him. Steelers traded him on a second contract because he wanted to be traded. He wasn't happy. He was the dissenter in the locker room. Not saying he's crazy, but he was the dissenter in the locker room. Not a happy guy. He wasn't as happy-go-lucky, but I did love him. Excellent route runner. I'm not taking that away from him at all. He's one of the best route runners I've ever seen. He was out of the box, an excellent route runner out of college. Had the best route running in college from a wide receiver I've seen. But doesn't have it in between the ears. Doesn't have it between the ears to stick around and do well. And he's not getting Ravens aren't getting what Tomlin got out of him. Donald, Steelers got to watch the drop down passes from the Browns to keep the run game stopped. Exactly. Like Chubb out of the backfield. Hell yeah. Yeah. So, but at least the good thing is we don't have to put a spy on Winston. We can put the spy on Chubb. Brian Davis, Ian White back on Facebook. Yes. And you have a new profile picture. Hey, you can see it's good to notice the old heads right there. That's what we know. The decade did not start. Oh my gosh, man. I'm sorry that you don't understand math. All decades start on the zero. The 80s start with 1980, not 1981. Oh. Year 10 was the first day. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, why is Williams not in a lot for the deep passes never going to him? Why is Williams not? Yeah, he wasn't in this pass game. I did not understand why he was being used the way he was being used. I would keep Field. The upside would be great. Russ might ask for too much salary. He's definitely going to ask for a lot of money, but I'm not positive on all the stuff he's going to ask for. This draft is absolutely loaded with quarterback. Ewers from Texas could drop to Pittsburgh. Yeah, I could see us drafting a quarterback. The way that teams don't need quarterbacks this year, with as deep as the way that everybody grabbed quarterbacks last year, Vic might drop. Or not Vic, Sanders from Colorado might drop to us in our laps. That would be an interesting quarterback to get in this style of offense, or run-first offense. We'd have to see. Miles Pickens has been really impressive. He has 784 yards off of 49 receptions, putting in a comparison with Garrett Wilson, has around the same amount of yards with 69 receptions. Crazy work. He's getting the deep ball. But he'd have a lot more if he wasn't making some mental errors. He'd have another 100 yards. Easy. Easy without these mental errors. I want to see him put together a complete game. I'm waiting for him to put together a complete game. Love George Pickens' athleticism. Absolutely off the charts. I'm just waiting for him to put together a complete game. Ian, yeah, I would agree. First day pick for wide receiver, second round, cornerback or D-line, extra for the rotation. Yeah, exactly. Trying to think of who's up. Tight end, we're good. Offensive line, we're good. We basically drafted our offensive line, unless we want to get a higher guard. But don't really see us drafting an offensive lineman high. Defensive lineman, definitely. Middle linebacker, we are set. Outside linebacker, we are set. Safety, maybe drafting a strong safety. That might be the other big one to push for. And that was a guy like the year we drafted Kenny Pickett. A lot of us were salivating that Hamilton was still on the roster, was there right before the Ravens grabbed him two picks before us. Like, that was the pick. I would imagine us if we would have gotten Hamilton with this roster on his rookie contract, two ball, and Fitzpatrick would have been always have been able to be a monster. That would have been awesome. Absolutely an awesome pick. Dana, I'm amazed with the quick Russell Wilson to Pickens play just after a few games. Wilson and Najee look like all pros to me. They're doing great, especially with that play action move, the rushing, him making the same motions on a run play as he does on a play action. That's what's getting people really, really confused. I love Andy Reid. Let's be honest. After they ran them out of town, then the Eagles did win a Super Bowl, which is more than the Steelers can say in the same time. But not with the quarterback not with the coach that they ran them out of town with. They brought in Kelly first, the coach from Oregon, and he gutted the team. They had to completely rebuild that team from scratch. That was not Andy Reid's team. They did a good job of rebuilding. They won a Super Bowl. They did it with Nick Foley and Dynamite, Nick Foles. They won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles against freaking Manning, or against Brady. The worst quarterback that Brady went up against a Super Bowl, he lost to. He lost to Nick Foley and Dynamite. That was an odd season. And that was a weird season, too, with the Eagles. I lived in Philadelphia at the time. Like, their entire offensive line got decimated. They had so many injuries late in the season, I didn't think that they were going to win at all in the playoffs. And they won out with a decimated offensive line. It was one of the most interesting runs I have ever seen for a Super Bowl win. And for all the great teams that they had with Andy Reid and that incredible Jimmy Johnson coach defense, that was just elite as hell. Dawkins back there, Cox, monsters hitting, Runyon. Yeah, I mean, incredible. Like, Hall of Fame, there's all over the place. Offensive line, defense. Great team. Great team. That team couldn't win the Super Bowl. They were always in the NFC Championship game. Got to one Super Bowl against Brady. Just couldn't win that Super Bowl. Still a great coach. Still should never have been run out of town. And he'd be winning more Super Bowls than just that one. because it was his reason to go get Mahomes. He really liked Mahomes. Tomlin has passion, and Tomlin cares. And Tomlin better than most coaches, and Tomlin welcome back in the legend. But he's worth more for 2 first round. Yeah, I'm done with the first round draft pick thing. He's too good of a coach. Somebody asked about a trade. What would it take to give up Tomlin as a head coach if the Cleveland Browns threw something at him? I'd have to say like their next 3 drafts, not just 2 first rounders. That's how good Tomlin is now. He goes way beyond 2 first round draft picks with the way he gets talent into playoffs every year. Le'Veon, even though a running back, is a superb example of not being as good when he left. Yeah, and that was sad because Le'Veon was fantastic in our system. Absolutely fantastic in our system. Dana, are you making a score prediction for the Cleveland game? No, I don't really do score predictions. I think we're going to win it. I wouldn't say, I'd say that I'd be surprised if Cleveland scored over 20 points. I expect us to score over 20 points. Maybe 24-14, 24-12, right around there. That's about what I expect. Not a big blowout, but a controlled game. Miles, I'm saying it once. I won't say it again. Omar Khan, draft Najee to a second contract. Yeah, I was head scratching that we didn't sign a 5th-year option. It would have been, to me, for a first-round running back, it is a cheap franchise tag. It is a dirt cheap franchise tag to 5th-year option. And plus, you can turn that into a contract. You can rework it. That would be the interesting aspect. Ian, or trade him. Trade him on that contract. Brian, yeah, I used to use my phone to check in. Miles, I'm taking Travis Hunter if he's available. Travis, if you're talking about draft, I have no idea about draft yet. I guess the quarterback, yeah. Dallas moving up to grab Saunders and his dad. If you're talking about Sanders and having his dad come to coach, I got what you're saying. That'd be fun. AJ Halsey, safety out of UH at number 32. Yes, because that's where the Super Bowl champion drafts. Well done, my friend. Robert Stryker, I love your idea with both Fields and Wilson on the field at the same time. And if we get low on ours, we may find that Fields is the best RV that we could use them like that. Yeah, I mean, I'd be really happy to see them both on the field at the same time. Russell Wilson would take the snap. Hell, you could even have direct snap, like both of them there. Who are they going to snap to? You got Fields or Frazier snap to one or the other. Who's going to be snapped to? Who knows? That could be crazy. Running back Fields with Russell Wilson quarterback would be a hot matchup simultaneously. Exactly. Yeah, I'd like to see that. Cordell could have been an all-time great wide receiver at the same time. Maybe true to Fields, but I think it's definitely true Fields. He could be a great running back. Yeah, I did think he could be a good running back too. For at least we knew Cordell's skill set. He could play wide receiver, and he was a great wide receiver with us too. Ian, Fields, use him like Cordell as a wide receiver. I don't know if he's a pretty good passer. I don't know. He's a pretty good passer, though. I don't know about his receiving. I know that Cordell was an excellent receiver. Excellent receiver. He could have been a great wide receiver too. Miles, not draft sign. Ignore me if I'm done. No, it's fine, Miles. Burrow, even if running back Fields occasionally throw to Russell Wilson, mix it up, old school football like pre-leather helmet time where you don't exactly know who's going to pass it. Exactly. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Single wing with both Fields and Russell the same wing. Hell yeah. Now you're talking. Now we need to do the I formation. Fields and Najee behind Russell. Actually, do it the other way because then you have Najee coming up and making a block and giving it to Fields and him running an option off of it. Oh, Pittsburgh 24, Cleveland 20. I'm all for that. A win is a win is a win. Doesn't matter how ugly it is as long as you have more points than the other team. Brian Davis, yes, sir. Burrow, no doubt George will continue to improve, and that bonehead stuff shows his improvement has to be between the ears. But his function well as a wide receiver is improving. He definitely is improving as a wide receiver every week. Guys, make sure you're following me at Steeler Nation on all the stuff, at SN Stryker. Follow, go to SteelerNation.com. Follow us on all the handles, at Steeler Nation on X, at Steeler Nation.com on Instagram and Facebook. Obviously, your show, we're winding down. We ran over. We had so much fun today. It was a big day to talk about a lot of stuff. I got to make sure I talked about everything on my sheet. I think I did. Yep. Talked about Justin Fields' pass package. Talked about being healthy. Yep. And I talked about everything on my sheet without having to go off of my sheet once. Until just checking it out here late. Oh, man. But we finish off with you guys, as always. Ian White. Yeah, I agree. Resign Najee. Exactly. Miles, Steelers are kings of winning ugly. I think the stat is Alex Kozora pulled this over on the Depot. I know that Tomlin has the highest winning percentage of one-score games since the Steelers have the highest one-score percentage in games since the Super Bowl era started, but Tomlin as a coach has the highest percentage of one-score games, period. I think it's all time. That's the reason why his winning percentage is so high, because he wins close games. And how do you win close games? Because you're an excellent game manager and clock manager. As bad as he is at reviewing, throwing the red flag, he is excellent at game management. He's excellent at clock management. I've seen us win games because of bad clock management. I've seen Harbaugh have bad clock management against us. He ran the clock that one game where the game where Kenny Pickett threw that pass in the end zone. They still had like 40-some seconds, and they ran like 20 seconds on that one play, trying to get to field goal range for Justin Tucker, and they didn't get there. They ran it. That is inexcusable in this freaking league. Absolutely inexcusable. Tomlin does not make those bonehead plays at all. Great show, Stryker. Thank you, Cooley. I appreciate you, man. I'll see you over there on the Steeler Nation Football Forum. Free to join, guys. SteelerNation.com. Click on the football forum. Click on the forum tab. You get daily people like Cooley, myself, Ron Burgundy, who was on the show here earlier. All there chatting all day long, having a good time about every team in the NFL, not just Steelers. Fun stuff, too, like Pittsburgh Dad stuff popping up, and we just have a good time. We just have a good time. So go join it. It's fun. Gives you something to do. Stay off the drugs, guys. Brian, Steelers will score 40 this time. No more mistakes. Open her up. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. Tomorrow, George Pickens getting great, and often great doesn't mean that isn't what a great wide receiver looks like in their young years while they're still learning. Those who are talking trading George are wrong. Oh, no, I don't want to trade him. I'm nowhere near the trade George fan club yet. Not at all. But he needs to be a little bit more mature between the ears. His football IQ is not as high as it needs to be. My point about Antonio Brown is you were saying after Tomlin, head case, wide receivers do nothing. Oh, no, you're putting words in my mouth. I said he gets more out of them. And he did. Nobody got more out of those wide receivers than Tomlin. His stats still in Tampa were terrible. And the way he leaves the field with their coach against the Jets was hilarious. But winning a Super Bowl is not nothing. But he isn't the reason why they won the Super Bowl. It was Brady and that defense. Miles, you missed my Travis Hunter comment. Systems rig. Oh, damn it. I did miss it. Sorry about that. Well, thanks for throwing it down. I know sometimes I think it does like reset some comments. I know X sometimes comes in late, so I think I do miss some X comments. But thank you for restating it, Miles. We'll see you soon, my friend. Thorough. Frazier and MC McCormick are beasts. Yes, that second person to say it on the show today. Our rookies are getting it done on the offensive line. And for us to be missing only one of our starters and having McCormick filling in the big shoes of Daniels right now, who was our best offensive lineman last year. Hands down. He was the best offensive lineman we had last year. McCormick's doing a damn good job, too. Excellent call. Excellent call. Ian, I would like to hope this could be the year for them in the playoffs, but I am worried about the people we have on IR. I'll check out IR right now. I know Daniels is on IR. We're not as injured as we could be. So I'm going to IR right now because it is worth talking about. Injured reserve. Oh, I didn't know Adams was on IR. Shoot. I forgot he was on IR. Damn it. James Daniels is on IR. Troy Fontenot on IR. Still a rookie, but would be good to have on the team. Not going to lie. Nate Herbig on IR, though we've been playing the whole season without Nate. CJ Henderson on IR. That's not really hurting us. We got plenty of corners. Cam Johnston, that hurt us with the punter going on IR. I just didn't know Corliss Waitman was going to be killing it this year for us. Leal, that's a good depth piece. He's on IR. Logan Lee, and David Perales. Those guys are situational players. Corey Trice looks like we're getting him back this week. That's a big get back for corner. Huge corner. Had a big interception for us earlier in the season on like the first or second play he had this season. Ryan Watts, another good positional player, good depth player on IR. And Roman Wilson, the wide receiver that just can't seem to get healthy. That sucks. Yeah, you're right. We do have some good talent on IR. Looking at this, Leal would make our depth better. James Daniels and Adams would make our depth better. Troy Fontenot would make our depth better. Yeah, but the only ones that are really a starter, James Daniels is the only starter on this list. And if he comes back, I don't even know if we start him now. Roman Wilson would be a good role player. I always loved Corey Trice. I think Corey Trice can be that long-range guy on the other side of Joey Porter Jr. And Leal was really doing well this year. So, yeah, we got some good depth pieces, but only one starter. Only one starter, and I'm happy to get Trice back this week. I'm just glad we don't have the big names on there. Keep the big names and the keystone players off IR. That's the big thing. Bring back Plexico. Nope. Plexico was another one of those wide. I think Plexico is a very good parallel for George Pickens. Excellent athleticism. Didn't have it between the years. I always call Plexico Burress the shortest 6'4" wide receiver in the league because he jumped with like a 2-inch vertical. George Pickens jumps with all of his vertical. He is a great athletic receiver. Really great catch radius, probably even better than Plexico Burress. Plexico Burress was just an athletic freak as well. Huge body, fast, could get open deep, and caught the deep ball as well as anybody that's put on the black and gold in the Z receiver spot for us. Really good player in that respect. Just would make dumb bonehead plays. Spiking a ball when he's not tackled to turn the ball over. I remember Plexico. I remember him well. I remember the bonehead plays he made too. So it's a give and a take. Stop making the bonehead plays. Stop trying to go out there and suplex people or cheap shot them after a turnover. We don't need that. Or on a blocking play. We don't need that crap, George Pickens. We don't need that crap. It's going to get you in trouble. It's going to snow. It's on Thursday in Cleveland. That's awesome. I would love a snow game with the worst run defensive running team in the league against Najee and our offense. I would love that matchup. Robert, the 80s did not start in 1980. 1980 was the last year of the 70s. Have a good night, Robert. And that's all the time we have on my show, guys. Thanks for joining me on Strikers Inside Slant. Tune in your times and your clocks to be back here Tuesday, 8 o'clock Eastern time next week. I'm trying to do this again at the same time, same bat channel, same bat time. Thank you all for joining the show and making this as great as it always is. Excellent conversation, excellent ideas as always. And I love you guys. Thank you for making my evening fun on a Tuesday. So that's all the time I have for you for Strikers Inside Slants. Enjoy the game here on Thursday. Thank you so much. I know Robert's. That's also true for Robert C. Have a good night too, Ian. And guys, I am your host, Steeler Nation Stryker, rooting along with you as always.